Next on the Roar Report, Lions football pulled off a miraculous comeback over the Eastern Illinois Panthers. Was this the FCS Game of the Year? We'll tell you more coming up.
And the Lions women's rugby team started up their season against the St. Louis Sabres. More on that matchup and their season.
And the Lindenwood men's hockey team has a new head coach. Heading into this season, we'll tell you about him and their season. Coming up on the Roar Report. I'm Jack Garner.
And I'm Daniel Hinkamp.
Welcome to the Roar Report. This weekend had a lot of games and a lot of big moments. We're here to break them all down, starting off with football. Lindenwood football took on Eastern Illinois this past Saturday. Coming off a big win against St. Thomas the week before, the Lions looked to capitalize on their momentum, but things didn't look good for the Lions early on. Eastern Illinois took an early lead thanks to big plays from Cooper Willman and Pierce Holly, putting them up 17-0 at halftime. Enter Jeff Caldwell. In the second half, quarterback Nate Glantz and wide receiver Jeff Caldwell had a half to remember. Glantz set career highs in both touchdowns and passing yards, throwing for 283 yards and 4 touchdowns, all of which went to Jeff Caldwell. The late-game performance carried Lindenwood to a huge comeback late in the game, winning by a nail-biting final score of 28-25.
Realistically, from a conference standpoint, the one you kind of have circled is that very first conference game. You know, to achieve your goal, you know, it's not like we overlook these non-con games. That, you know, when you look at our calendar schedule, it's like, okay, to be the conference champion, it's not that those don't count, but they kind of don't count. You know, you got to win your conference games.
The Lions women's soccer team took on Southern Illinois University Edwardsville Cougars at Hunter Stadium on Sunday. After a draw in their previous match against Eastern Illinois, the Lions were hungry to get a win against their rivals from across the river. The Lions came out the gates flying as they took control of the match right from the kickoff. Precision and composure is the name of the game in this one, as the Lions outpassed and outpossessed the Cougars for the majority of the match. Great ball movement and the ability to move into space were just a couple of things the Lions executed to perfection in this in-conference battle. Caroline Ritter had another standout performance, recording another shutout as the Cougars struggled to find the back of the net. With the score knotted at 0 going into halftime, the Lions came out and made some adjustments and scored 2 quick goals from defender Allison Schrumpf and forward Anna Johnson to put away the game. Lindenwood Lions men's soccer traveled across the river this past weekend to Ralph Cortes Stadium, where they'd face off against the SIUE Cougars. The Lions fought hard to keep themselves in the game, but ultimately 2 goals would be enough for the Cougars to seal the deal and send the Lions home with a loss. With a quick turnaround on Thursday, October 10th, the Lions will host the Cougars under the lights at 7 p.m. Look for the Lions to bounce back in that one, as they will be determined to right the ship and knock off the Cougars on our own home turf.
The Lindenwood Lions women's volleyball team took on the Eastern Illinois Panthers this past weekend. The Lions took on EIU twice, playing them on Friday and Saturday this past weekend. The Lions looked lethal in both games as freshman Autumn Bax led the team in kills. Bax is already a 2-time Ohio Valley Conference Freshman of the Week. After her impressive performance this weekend, she was named OVC Freshman of the Week for a 3rd time. While looking dominant, Lindenwood had some issues being efficient, with 10 service errors in total and 7 in the first set alone. Luckily for Lindenwood, it didn't matter, and they were still able to win all 3 sets by the scores of 27-25, 25-21, and 25-20 in the third set to sweep the day. On Saturday, the Lions once again looked supreme, winning all 3 sets by the scores of 25-15, 25-19, and 25-18. For the first time since going to Division I, the Lions earned their first back-to-back sweep. The Lions look to keep their momentum going against SIUE this weekend, playing them Friday and Saturday. The Lindenwood Lions women's rugby team opened their season with an exhibition game against the St. Louis Sabres this past weekend. The season opener was back and forth throughout the whole game. The Lions were able to hold off the Sabres and pick up the victory in the opening exhibition by a score of 28-24. The Lions look to stay hot after a great season last year. The Lions should open their season against Davenport on Friday, but the game may end up being postponed. And coming up after the break, we'll sit down with Freda Tafuna, winner of the M.A. Sorensen Award for Best Collegiate Rugby Player in the Nation. Stay with us.
What's it like to be a student athlete in the OVC? We rise to challenges and challenge others to rise with us. We show respect. We lead by example. In the OVC, we become champions on and off the field. That's OVC Sports, and you've got to OVC it.
Are you ready for college? I get it. It's a big decision. But I think Lindenwood University can make your choice a whole lot easier. Let's start with over $30 million in scholarships and grants to make college affordable, and over 30,000 alumni working near campus to make the job hunt easier. And because we're local, enjoy the perks of campus life and stay close to enjoy home cooking. So, what do you say? Ready to awaken that lion within?
Welcome back to the Roar Report. After a highlight-filled weekend, we turn our attention to a program that will be getting their feet wet at the Division I level this season. For years, the women's rugby program has been a dominant force at the junior varsity level, including making an appearance in the D1 Elite Championship game last season. That success prompted a push to move the program to a higher level, and over the summer, it was announced the elevation of the program as an emerging sport to varsity status. For the last 13 years, the women's rugby program at Lindenwood has been a dominant force, amassing a record of 282 wins, 60 losses, and 15 ties. In that time, they have also captured 3 national championships, the 2017 and 2018 U.S. Rugby Collegiate Sevens Championships and the 2018 USA Rugby D1 Elite Championship. That sustained success has pushed the Lions program to the top of the list of rugby programs in the nation. With colleges looking to provide more athletic opportunities for women, the university made the decision to elevate the women's rugby team to varsity status over the summer as part of the NCAA's Emerging Sport Program. The program was enacted as part of the Gender Equity Task Force in 1994 to close the participation gap between men's and women's sports. Since 1994, 5 sports have become championship programs through the process. Our women's rugby team looks to be number 6. This season, 10 colleges will compete at the Division I level as part of the National Intercollegiate Rugby Association, including Lindenwood. The Lions got their season underway last week against St. Louis Sabres and will next face Division II opponent Davenport on October 4th. The Lions will be a tough competitor early on, as they have one of the best women's rugby players in the country on their roster. Freda Tafuna has started with the Lions for the past 3 seasons, but hasn't just been on the college fields where she has dominated. Tafuna earned her first international cap for the U.S. during the 2023 Pacific 4 Series and has been in the camp with the U.S. this year. Tafuna was also honored with the M.A. Sorensen Award this past spring as the women's best collegiate 15s player in the nation. We are lucky enough to have Freda with us in studio to talk with our own Justice Odom about how she got started in rugby, what it has been like to play on the world stage, and what it means to be a Lions rugby player in the midst of these announcements.
Hi, I'm Justice Odom, and I'm here interviewing Freda Tafuna, the back row for the Lindenwood Lions. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Just getting by.
Yeah. Oh, no, I feel that.
Yeah.
We're almost at fall break, though.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask you a couple questions just to give you a spotlight and your team. Mm-hmm. So can you give us the difference between rugby and football?
I would say rugby, obviously there's no padding in rugby, so you're always making contact with your physical body, and we don't really get breaks. Like, we're always moving. The only time we really get a break is at halftime, and then we're moving again in the next half. So
that's a different type of conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So you used to play basketball and soccer, right?
Yeah.
So do you think anything from basketball or soccer transferred over with your skill for rugby?
I would probably just say the footwork is probably the only thing that transferred over. Like, I thought fitness would transfer over, but like, you come here, you play rugby, and then you have to do like the combat part, and then you're running too. So like, you have to have way better fitness in rugby than you do have in those 2 sports. Right. Yeah.
Do you think it helps starting off in like soccer and basketball instead of jumping straight into rugby, or have you always played rugby?
And so I grew up in a rugby family. I come from a family of 7 brothers and 3 sisters. So being like one of the younger sisters, I was always like playing with my brothers. Mm-hmm. So they always, like brothers do, they always make you do physical stuff. So I feel like that's how I transferred over to rugby with my physical aspect.
So you're Polynesian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're really big on family.
Yeah.
And you came all the way from California.
Yeah.
What helped you make the decision to come to Lindenwood?
A family friend from church had reached out to me about recruiting me here. And so doing research on Lindenwood, when she had reached out, I seen there's a lot of Polynesian girls. And if anyone knows, all of us Polynesians, we're so big on family. So I already knew coming here I was going to make a good connection with all of them. And then I was like, yeah, this could be my home away from home. So that's how I ended up here at Lindenwood.
Well, we're glad you're here, and I think it's amazing that given the experience you have in rugby, even though you did play at home with your brothers, but like in a short amount of time, you made National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I think that's really big, and I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
So when you were in high school, you graduated in 2021. So that's a little bit after COVID. How was your first season playing in high school?
It was a bit rough. Like with rugby, I hated like tackling. Like even though I did it so much growing up, like I just couldn't do it with other people. So like we played in that one tournament, and then like once we did that, my body was like beat up the next day. So I was like, yeah, I can never play this sport again. And yeah.
Look at you
Yeah.
now. So do you feel like you were always going to come play at the collegiate level?
No, I never thought I would see rugby in my future. I thought I would be more of a soccer player just because I played that longer. Basketball was in the picture, but I didn't really see it as too much, but yeah.
Freda, I want to thank you for coming on the show and giving us a little insight, and I wanted to congratulate you on everything you were able to accomplish in your career so far. And I want to go ahead and let the Linden Lions know that you should go and see a rugby game this season. So go ahead and congratulate and support Freda on her journey here at Lindenwood. And we're going to be right back after this break.
Are you ready for college? I get it. It's a big decision. But I think Lindenwood University can make your choice a whole lot easier. Let's start with over $30 million in scholarships and grants to make college affordable, and over 30,000 alumni working near campus to make the job hunt easier. And because we're local, enjoy the perks of campus life and stay close to enjoy home cooking. So, what do you say? Ready to awaken that lion within?
What's it like to be a student athlete in the OVC? We rise to challenges and challenge others to rise with us. We show respect. We lead by example. In the OVC, we become champions on and off the field. That's OVC Sports, and you've got to OVC it.
Welcome back to the Roar Report. Coming up over the next week, Lindenwood Athletics has a lot of big action to look forward to.
That's right, Danny. This Saturday, you're going to want to make your way to Hunter Stadium as the Lindenwood football team will be hosting Tennessee State in a conference matchup at 1 p.m. Last year, the Lions fell to Tennessee State on the road by a score of 20-43, but this year the Lions are healthy and look like they're ready to compete in OVC Big South play. Head coach Jed Stugart said before the season that he's excited to see what this team can do in conference play, and we'll get another chance to see that on Saturday.
The Lindenwood men's ice hockey team looks to get their season started right. This weekend they'll open up with a 2-game series against UNLV at the Centene Community Ice Center. The team is coming off a 6-win season where they went 1-4-1 down the stretch, leading to the firing of longtime head coach Rick Zombo. This year the team is full of new faces on the ice and behind the bench as new coach Bill Muckalt looks to lead the Lions to their first ever winning season at the Division I level. Bill is a former NHL player and was an assistant head coach at Michigan University before coming to Lindenwood. The puck drop will be at 7:10 p.m. on Saturday and 1:40 p.m. on Sunday, so be sure to get out there and support our Lions on the ice.
On Friday, your Lindenwood women's volleyball team will travel across the river to Edwardsville, Illinois to take on an OVC rival and SIUE on Friday and Saturday. Lindenwood took on the Cougars 3-1 the last time they met and look to continue their good form as they have won 6 of their last 8 matches, including 2 sweeps of Eastern Illinois over the weekend. The match on Friday will start at 5 p.m. and on Saturday they'll start at 3 p.m. Both games will be held inside the Valdellavine Center on the campus of SIUE.
And as the MLB regular season comes to an end, collegiate softball will start to warm up as Lindenwood softball team continues their fall ball schedule with a doubleheader against Rockhurst University and St. Louis University on Sunday. First pitch against Rockhurst will be at 1 p.m. and at 3 p.m. against St. Louis.
We hope to see you out supporting your Lions across campus. That'll wrap things up for this week.
Thank you guys for tuning into the Roar Report, and we will see you all next week.